Welcome back to Insight Indonesia, brought to you by the Jakarta Globe. Today we're talking with Anand Krishna, a spiritual activist and well-known guy in Indonesia who tries to imbue society with meditative values that help. Try to help people.
Serve people.
Some people.
Serve people. Serve.
Serve people. Serve people. I would like to talk in this segment a little bit about religious tolerance in the context of someone like yourself, and tell us about your family's journey.
Yes.
In India, way back when.
That has made me very much obsessive towards this, religious, what we call pluralism, which I would like to speak about. Yeah, my family came from Sindh, from Pakistan, and my mother comes from a very mixed family. Her name was Shamiba, and Shami is a Persian name, so it's a more a Muslim name. And
and she was also Sindhi.
Sindhi, yeah. Sindhis are Muslims or Sikhs or Hindus. And my father was working here from 1930s. So when India got its freedom and Pakistan was born, he went back to Pakistan. He closed his shops and he went back to Pakistan. Oh, wow. And he thought he's having a new country now. But once he got there, he saw his family all torn and apart.
Well, he decided to go back to Pakistan in 1947?
1947.
Oh, my goodness.
And then he came back after 2-3 months. And then he said, okay, his family, some of them, they went to India, some remained in Pakistan. He said, no, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going back to Indonesia. So 15 years later, when I was born, and I was about 10 years old or so, I told him, Dad, were you not stupid enough to be an Indonesian? Because I came to know that at that point, those people who are working outside India, undivided India, they were offered British citizenship by the British government. So either you can be a British citizen, because they were holding British subject passport.
Sure.
So either you could be a British citizen or Indian or Pakistani. So I said, why the hell you have to come to Indonesia?
Why didn't you go to Hong Kong or something?
Hong Kong or Singapore at least, or UK, London.
Because those were years, of course, when Indonesia itself looked almost hopeless at points.
Yes. So he said, I came here because of Pancasila.
Really?
As simple as that. Because of Pancasila and Bung Karno.
That's why he came back. Yeah. That's why he came back.
Said, I found this. I didn't understand. I didn't quite understand. I really thought he was stupid. I really thought he was stupid.
Well, one of the things that it always fascinates me when people talk about partition in India, because it's one of the greatest internal migrations in the history of mankind. I mean, millions and millions of people. Outside of the trauma that this inflicted on India and Pakistan, it's almost unknown, at least in the West. I grew up and studied international relations and knew almost nothing about it until I visited Pakistan. And then somebody said, oh, you must read this book and this book and this book, and I started reading it. It was absolutely fascinating. But the trauma that inflicted on a generation of people is massive.
Massive. My father couldn't meet his cousins. They were living in one big household. They had big, huge houses, and they lived together. It was a joint family. So one of his cousins was Muslim, one of his cousins was Sikh, and they parted and never to meet again until his death.
Never ever got to see each other again. And in those years, it was possible to have a mixed relationships.
Yes, it was no problem at all. It was no problem at all. In the same household, a brother would be a Muslim, another brother would be blood brothers, siblings, another brother would be Hindu, and would be living in the same household.
And everybody says, Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay.
And the Hindu term for God is Rab, and Rab is Arabic. And even the Hindus, the Sindhi script is written in Arabic actually. So they had no problem.
Why do you think there is this drive, and we feel it in Indonesia as well through the activities of groups like the Islamic Defenders Front and some of the more hardline groups. Why is there this need, this drive in society by a minority to try and undo Pancasila, to take this unity and diversity and shatter it, which I think would be a terrible thing for Indonesia?
Well, it's a clash of culture, not clash of civilizations. I would call it clash of culture. As we go back and we try to see what is happening in Middle East, and we are being influenced by outside factors which should not influence us. What is happening outside? I have a very good friend who is a granddaughter of the Mufti of Syria, the chief clergyman. And she says, and she's Lebanese, She says, in Lebanon, what is happening in Lebanon, I'm a Muslim and I'm suffering also. Yeah, Hezbollah is just a party, a political party.
Sure.
And they have guns, they have got weapons. From where did they get it? So it's political.
And here you have, again, one of the most tolerant societies traditionally in the world that's been in the last, well, it's been going on for 30 years, been driven into armed camps.
You look at the temples in India, they were all brought down during the Muslim dynasties, but here, Borobudur, Prambanan, they're all intact. So we were very tolerant and very appreciative of the differences.
We're almost out of time, but I'm gonna, instead of being negative, I want to put a positive spin on it. Why do you think Indonesia is basically so tolerant? Well, what is it in these people that make them able to pull this off?
Well, this Pancasila, I always say that Pancasila is not pluralism. Pancasila is much more than that. When you say Pancasila, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, in Kavi, Bhinneka, Bin is different, Ika is one, Tunggal is one, Ika is one. So there are three terms for one and one term for different. So actually the actual meaning of Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is appearing as many but essentially one. So it is not pluralism per se, but we accept you, I accept you as a human being because we are actually basically one human being, one family.
And if we can keep to that idea, we should be okay in Indonesia.
We see the differences, the appearing, the manifestation are different.
Right.
But basically we are the same.
Very nice to talk to you about all these things. We're out of time, unfortunately, but I hope you'll be back another time. You've been watching Insight Indonesia, brought to you by the Jakarta Globe. I want to thank Anand Krishna for being here today and remind you that the show can be watched by live streaming on BeritaSatu.com and BeritaSatu TV and online at thejakartaglobe.com. Thanks for being with us.